Have you ever pondered why the cycle of violence never seems to end in the land of Palestine? The roots of this issue are deep, complex, and steeped in a history that dates back centuries. So let's take a journey through time, unraveling the story of murders in Palestine. We start our journey in the early 20th century. Palestine was a land of relative peace where diverse communities coexisted. But things began to change with the arrival of British colonial rule in 1917. The British introduced the Balfour Declaration, promising a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine, a promise that sowed the seeds of discord. The situation escalated in the following decades, culminating in the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The war led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, a tragedy known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. The conflict didn't end with the war. It transformed into an ongoing struggle, marked by a cycle of violence, retaliation, and revenge. Fast forward to the late 20th century, the first Intifada erupted in 1987. The uprising was a response to years of occupation, repression, and frustration. It was marked by civil disobedience, protests, and sadly, many deaths. The turn of the millennium brought with it the Second Intifada, a period of intensified Israeli-Palestinian violence. This time, suicide bombings and targeted killings became the grim hallmarks of the conflict, leading to a significant spike in the number of deaths. The cycle of violence has continued into the 21st century, with the Gaza wars of 2008, 2012, and 2014. These conflicts resulted in the loss of thousands of lives, the majority of which were Palestinian civilians. This journey through time paints a grim picture, but it's important to remember that behind each statistic, each number is a human story. A story of a life cut short, a family torn apart, a community in mourning. To summarize, the story of murders in Palestine is a tragic tale of a cycle of violence. It begins with British colonial rule and the introduction of the Balfour Declaration. This was followed by the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, the First and Second Intifadas, and the Gaza Wars. Each phase of the conflict has been marked by death, destruction, and an enduring struggle for justice and peace. But the story isn't over. The future remains unwritten. It's a future that can be shaped by understanding, empathy, and a commitment to peace. Because after all, every life is valuable, and every death is a loss to humanity. So, as we end this narrative, remember the human stories behind the numbers, and let them inspire a desire for a peaceful future.